So you just getting into wedding filmmaking and you're looking for some tips and some tricks on various aspects of the day to improve your filmmaking and give you a better idea of what you need to be doing on the day. Well, if that's the case, then you've come to the right place. My name's Luke, I'm a wedding videographer based in the UK and I'm a single shooter. And in this video, I'm going to talk you through exactly how I film a confetti shot. I remember when I first started out in filmmaking and I spent hours on YouTube looking at various tutorials about how to film certain aspects of the day, and now, years later, now that I film countless weddings, I want to give a little bit of knowledge back to those that are just starting out and hopefully make a film that I would have found helpful back when I was starting out. And so the confetti shot is quite an important part of the day. It's one of the best shots to take of the day. It's one of the most dynamic shots on the day you can take. It's great to sell to other couples who are potentially looking at booking you because it's a really happy part of the day. There's normally a lot of colours, there's a lot of movement, and there's a lot of smiles and happy emotions. It's a really nice moment of the day that you can say, hey, this is how I film this part of the day, this is the look I can give you, this is why you should be booking me, and that's why this is so important to understand. So before we start then, I'd love it if you could hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, especially if you're interested in wedding filmmaking and wedding videography and you'd like to see more tips and tricks in the future. Okay, so without any further ado, let's jump into it then. As you can see, I've got a model, a very rough model. I'd give you that on the table here. Now there's two scenarios I'm going to talk you through today. There is the moving confetti shot and the static confetti shot. How to set them up, what's the differences between the two, bar the obvious, one's moving, one's static. Some little tips on settings you should have. So the first scenario we're going to go through then is the moving confetti shot or the tunnel confetti shot. And this is the most common one you'll see. It's, you know, the guests lining a pathway, the bride and groom walking towards you, the camera tracks with the bride and groom as all the confetti starts flying, and it looks absolutely epic. So let's set the model up. So you've got your guests here and they've come out from the ceremony more often than not, and it's yours and the photographer's job. Here we are. So we're red, we're video, and yellow's photo. As you can see with the cones, that's the angles we're going to be filming at, and it's your job to set this scene up. The guests will be given confetti as they come out of the doors. Normally this is going to take place outside, and so as people come out, you need to encourage them to keep walking towards you and make that tunnel as long as you can, because the longer the tunnel, the better it looks. There's nothing worse than a very short tunnel that's very wide. It's 6 or 7 people deep. You want it maybe ideally one person deep or 1 or 2 people deep, and stretch that tunnel out to give you a long period of time where the couple is getting confetti thrown on them, because it looks fantastic. So between you and the photographer, you'll be like, hey, come towards me, keep walking this way, sirs, mums, ladies, gentlemen, please keep going, you know, be polite. Okay, and people are a little bit hesitant to listen to you to begin with, so you need to be quite forceful. Be polite, but you need to come across like you know what you're doing. Between you and the photographer, that will take you probably 5 minutes to set up and get people to come out, because naturally as well, when people come out of these doors, they just want to get the confetti and they'll stand pretty much where they are. They won't move. You need to really encourage them to start moving down, because otherwise you'll have a big clump of people at the start and it looks really thin and washed out towards the end. So your bride and groom are going to be at the head of the chain here. And then what you're going to do is, when you're ready, you're going to track up, and you want to be, I'd say, somewhere between 6 and 10 foot away from the couple. Now, what settings are you going to be on? For me, I am normally somewhere between an f4 and an f8. You don't want a super blurry background. You don't want all that bokeh in there. You want to capture the confetti flying. You want to capture the smiling faces of the bride and groom, but you also want the reaction of the guests whizzing past the frame on either side. You want that happiness, you want that to come through in your film, you want that atmosphere to build in your film, and that's part of why I film at a higher f-stop, is to have more in focus and get that look. So you'll give them the nod and the couple are going to start walking down, and then you simply track down with them. So you're going to track down bride and groom. Now you could speak to your bride and groom beforehand and say, look, when you get to a certain point, either you decide or me or the photographer put a hand up, just stop, give each other a kiss, and normally then what happens is the guests will then start clapping and cheering. It's a really nice moment. You can then stop. Sometimes at this point I might push myself back in to give a bit more of movement on that shot. So I'm on a gimbal the whole time for this shot. I will take my gimbal with me. So I'll push in and then pull out, and then as I'm pulling out, they're going to start moving again, and then we all just track out together. Perfect, shot done. And that is pretty much it for the movement confetti shot. Really easy, really simple. It takes longer to set it up than you will be filming, mainly because you've just got organised maybe 100 guests to get them to move down that pathway and make it really, really nice. But there's nothing too complicated about that. Like I said, if you wanted that nice moment where the bride and groom stop in the middle, have a kiss with the confetti going over them, speak to them about that. Try and not do it on the fly. If you've not discussed it previously with them, don't sort of mid confetti walk just shout stop, kiss. It just sort of ruins the vibe a little bit. If you've not spoken about it pre this happening, just let it roll as it naturally happens. So that is your movement confetti shot. So let's move on to scenario 2 then, which is your static confetti shot. So your guests are going to be kind of in a loose semicircle. The reason I've got these blocks out here is that normally there's too many people, especially on an average size wedding of like 100 to 120. There's not enough room for everyone to be in that semicircle, so you're going to end up having to push people behind. If you can get somewhere where there's a slight elevation, so the bride and groom are on the flat and then there's a slight hill above, and so the people stood at the back are elevated, that works a treat. Stairways work great for this because you can have those guests elevated, you then get everyone's faces in. There's nothing worse than a group shot where you see the first line of people, you see a smattering of heads in the second line, and then everyone else is just lost. So if you can elevate them anyway, or if you can elevate yourself and shoot down on it slightly so you can see those faces, that's really advantageous. So your bride and groom are going to be in the middle here. Now what I normally do is once they're in, they'll be right in with all their guests. Okay, and the guests will be clinging onto them and patting them on the back and saying congratulations. So what I normally do is say, hey, X and Y, bride and groom, take 2 or 3 steps forward for me, and they just step proud of that group of people, and it then gives you that bit of separation to focus on them as the couple, because it's about them, it's about their shot, it's about their day. It just separates them off from that crowd, otherwise you lose them in the crowd a little bit sometimes. So then what you do, you want to be as central as you can be. You're just going to film here, and then you go, right everyone, 3, 2, 1, off they go, they throw the confetti, it all looks great. And that is how you pretty much do a static shot. Camera settings again, for this I'm still going to be between an f4 and an f8 depending on the conditions, because I still want the faces to be fairly visible of the crowd behind the couple. I still want to document who was there on the day, and this is a great way of documenting everyone that was there at the wedding without it just being a bog standard group shot. This is a great way of, here's everyone, but we're all throwing confetti, we're all having a great time, it's a bit nicer, and also it works great for video because there's motion in the scene. So when I film either of these scenarios, I'm filming on 60 frames a second, and that allows me to slow it down to 40% speed. And realistically, in a wedding film, do I need to slow any footage down slower than 40%? Well, no, because that sequence is quite long anyway. Especially if you're doing the walk-in, the movement confetti shot. If you've got 100 people, that whole sequence could be 30 seconds long. You put that into 40% speed. Are you going to be using all that footage? You're not. You haven't got time in the film to sit there for 2.5 minutes and watch a confetti walk. It just doesn't work. And so yeah, 60 for me is the sweet spot, but you can do it in 24 frames a second. It just means you've got to be that little bit more stable, and because you can't slow that footage down, and obviously by slowing the footage down, you give yourself an extra layer of stability on top of inbuilt stabilization, lens stabilization, all that good stuff. So confetti shots are actually really simple to set up. They're really simple to run. They're really simple to film, but they're really great moments of the wedding, and they're really good for advertising your wedding business. They're really good for advertising your services and your talents to people, because it's a big, fun, happy, emotional moment, like I've said, and it's great for building that emotion in the film, building an atmosphere in the film. And once you can lock in that atmosphere, build in that emotion in your film, then clients are going to start seeing that and be like, hey, this guy really makes films that are personal to that couple. That's what I want. I want my wedding film like that. And this is part of how you can go about doing that. So guys, that was just a quick little talk through of how I film my confetti shots. I hope you found it interesting and helpful. If you did find it interesting and helpful, please let me know in the comment section below. I'd love to hear what you thought. Has anything I've said to you in this video made you more confident to go and film a confetti shot? Have you filmed confetti shots before and did anything different? If you did do something different, then please let me know in the comment section. I'd love to hear about your experiences and have a conversation with you. If you did enjoy this video, please again give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more content like this. And thanks again very much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next film.